This is an honest review of the Callisto Protocol. Let's take a look. Alright guys, so we have a lot to get through in this game. This game is an absolute fucking shit show. And yeah, we're gonna get into this. So let's start with the settings. The graphical settings are pretty nice. You can change everything that you're supposed to. And the sound settings are okay. You can change 3 items. However, there's not a master volume setting. You can individually click off the volume, but there's no master slider. Not really sure what that's about, but okay. And so there you go. So those are the settings. All of the keys are kind of rebindable. Some keys are hardbound to certain items. There's some stuff that you can't change. The biggest thing that I had was in the inventory. T is hardbound to discard. And so if you're using TGFH, you can't move up. You can't navigate with the mouse. You can only navigate with the keyboard because it's a fucking console game to its core. So you have to use your directional keys. When I say directional, I just mean your movement keys. So I use TGFH, so I can't move up in the inventory. So I ended up not being able to use my inventory pretty much unless it was in the first row the entire game. I mean, this is a $60 game on PC and a $70 game on console. There's no excuse for this. There's really not. I mean, okay. I'm not going to waste energy on key binding. So let's get into the story. What's the story? You play as this guy named Jacob, and he kind of deliveries for places, and he was making a delivery to this moon, the moon of Callisto, and he gets falsely accused of something, and you're just trying to get off the moon. There's this disease, there's an outbreak, and everyone has just turned into these freaks, and you're just trying to get off the moon. That's what the story is. It's nothing gripping. The voice acting, I actually liked the voice acting.
The fuck are you looking at?
Why?
Huh? Way too late for this shit. Okay,
Inmates do not speak unless they are spoken to.
there's been a mistake. My name is Jacob Lee. I'm not an inmate.
You were inmate 532-521. You address me as Captain Ferris.
What? No. I'm just a cargo pilot. I was attacked by the Outer Way. By her.
The script, I thought the script is whatever, but the voices and the voice acting themselves, I liked the protagonist's voice. I liked how, they did their stuff. Typically, I'm not a fan of voice acting, but the voices were really nice in this. So let's get into the game. The environment and the graphics. You can see the graphics. Unfortunately, the optimization is so bad on this game for PC, because it's made for a console, that I had to turn my graphics all the way down to low. Now, I have a 3090 running at 4K. I had to turn my graphics all the way down to low to try to salvage just a few frames. It runs so bad. And I actually think they just put a patch out last night, but at the time that I was recording, and at the time of release, this is how it is. So you should have given us a completely full product at the time we buy them, instead of bullshitting around and not giving a shit about your people, because it's exactly what this game is. This game is a scam. Just as most AAA games that deliver a format like this game is. Just save it for the end. Okay. But you can tell if the graphics were at max, and from other videos I've seen, the graphics look really good. The environments do feel natural, though incredibly linear. Now, I have no issue with linear games. I don't think every game needs to be open world. But if you're gonna make it linear, then the gameplay itself better be really good, because it needs to be able to offset freedom, right? In linear games, there's not really freedom. So the gameplay needs to be superb, sublime. Unfortunately, that's not the case with this game. This game is so boring in almost every way possible, that it's, you like whatever you like, but guys, you gotta open your eyes, and you need to start valuing yourself. You need to start loving yourself, and you need to start having a standard. Now, fortunately, this game is taking heavy heat. I've watched a lot of videos, and I've seen the Steam reviews, and this game is taking heat. However, it seems like a lot of the heat is just coming from the stuttering, which is really bad. I mean, I was getting anywhere from 8 to 100 frames a second, it would just flick off. I mean, it would just flick. It was just all throughout the game. It was absolutely awful. But this combat, the way the combat works is it has this built-in lock-on system, and you get tied to one person, and you have to avoid moves, and then you hit. It's so clunky, and it's such an old way of doing combat, and it offers no flexibility or anything to the player. Everyone's going on about the grip because you get this sort of like this force pull and push glove that you get, and that is honestly the best part of the combat. You get guns, which you make and that you find. There's a shotgun. There's 2 variants of the shotgun. There's a pistol that you can make. There's an assault rifle that you get very in game. While we're going into the crafting, I'll hit on the crafting real quick. You get currency from killing enemies and just finding them around the levels, and then you go to these little stations where you can craft, and you spend points or you spend your currency to build in this super 3D printer, and then you get what it is. That's the progression. Now, this is also one thing that a lot of people aren't hitting on before we get back to the combat, is that the progression in this game is based off of the weapons that you have. You don't level up your character. There's no XP in this game, which is really good. The progression is really good. This is how it should be. You feel powerful based on the weapons that you have, not because of how many skill points you've distributed. Let's give them credit for that, right? I mean, that was really good. Most AAA games don't do that anymore. I'm not saying that skill points are bad, but it's nice to actually have a base sort of natural level of progression like this. This game being a horror survival game is also another element where it kind of fails. The horror in this is not natural, neither is the suspense. Unlike in games like Prey, where the horror and the survival aspect is very natural. It's in the way that just mechanic-wise and just the tone of how they set up, just the levels and all of that, you naturally just feel, suspenseful all the time. It doesn't need the extra music. It doesn't need to be all gruesome for you to feel like, oh, I'm gonna die. In this game, a lot of the horror and the suspense feels very artificial, which is, something that you would hope that you could at least lean back on. Unfortunately, it fails in that aspect as well. There's also, the HUD is very limited. The HUD feels really good because there pretty much is no HUD except for whenever you're using weapons. Or no, even then, the ammo count is on the weapon itself. Your health is stamped in the back of your neck. So you see it like that. It's very, the HUD is nice. The biggest part of the combat, and half the reason, is because of this third-person camera. Guys, it's so awful. I can't explain how awful this is. You can hardly see anything. In combination with being glued to one enemy at one time, if you're fighting one person, once you figure out how it works, you'll win pretty much every time. You have two people, you're fucked. You're done. I mean, that's a little over exaggerated, but you get someone behind you, you're screwed. Because it's very difficult to untether yourself from them, trying to run away because your guy just wants to look at the enemy the entire time. And there's no way to toggle this off. It's not like you toggle a lock on like you do in Dark Souls, right? This is just hardwired in. This is what you're gonna do, and it's awful, guys. It's so bad. This game offers nothing to you. It's $50 to $5 worth of graphics, $5 worth of gameplay. That's if you're playing on PC. If you're on console, guys, I imagine this game is running flawless simply because this game was made for a controller. It honestly, to my PC guys, it just seems like they just don't give a shit about us anymore. They really don't. We can complain as much as we want. We might as well just pack up our PCs and just sell them off because they just don't give a fuck about us. The only people that are going to really change this are the console players. That's what it seems like it is. Because if the console players just don't stick up for these bad practices, they don't listen to us. It seems like the only people they listen to are the console players. Yeah, what a disappointment. It's, wow. I felt like a manic making just kind of gathering my thoughts because my feelings go from disappointment to anger within just a flash. One second I'm ranting, and the next minute I'm just disappointing. It seems like we've got the disappointing side during time of recording. So it's just, you know, and this is why you don't pre-order your games. Guys, you gotta stop pre-ordering your games. You gotta stop buying these digital deluxe editions. The season pass for this game is an absolute joke. I mean, they're even coming to the so low that they're selling you fucking animations now. I mean, gosh. And you know there's people that are defending this. They're holding out complete modes, not even selling you. There's some sort of horde mode and survival mode that we can't get now. For an extra $20 on PC, we can unlock that. On console, I still think it's $80, so it's an extra $10, I think. I'm pretty for sure. It's just an absolute disgrace, guys. It's so disgraceful. And honest, it's just so insulting. The controller is such a dumbed down, archaic piece of equipment that pales in comparison. It pales in comparison to a mouse and keyboard. You can't argue it. And so when you see just garbage and they're just lazy, guys. These developers and these publishers are just getting lazy. And all they care about is taking your money. As far as I'm concerned, this is another Cyberpunk launch. This game is, you know what, at least Cyberpunk had good combat. At least good compared to this. Cyberpunk was open world, so, you know, you at least had freedom. I even said at the beginning of this review, if you're going to make a linear game, then the gameplay's got to be superb. And it's not. It's not on any means. This game is just awful. You know, we've hit on everything. We've talked about gameplay. We've talked about the graphics. We've talked about the settings. I mean, there's nothing to this game, guys. I know that almost all of this video has been a rant, but that's because literally everything I've said is what's in this game. And this game is nothing. It's a scam. This game, it's just, yeah, you're getting ripped off, guys, if you buy this. You really are. Even after the patch, forget the stuttering, right? You can patch stutters. You can't patch a whole game though and change the game itself. It's awful. So should you buy this game? No, you shouldn't. You should not support these people. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They only care about using and abusing you. You should not support these people, because by supporting them, you support their bad practices, and you support other people practicing these bad practices. So, no, do not buy this game, guys, on any circumstances. So there you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.